More than 100,000 fans screamed in unison, waiting for the most anticipated moment of the decade. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was about to step on stage in Los Angeles for one of the biggest shows of his dangerous world tour. What nobody expected was that on this night, in the middle of tears, hysteria, and declarations of love, one fan would stage the wildest marriage proposal Michael ever received. That fan? David Miller, 29 years old, an electronics store salesman from Long Beach, California, a die-hard MJ fan since the Jackson 5. David didn't come to simply watch. He had a mission: to make Michael Jackson laugh. And for that, he had prepared the craziest plan of his life. David grew up in a working-class family in Southern California. Son of a construction worker and a nurse, he was the clown of the family. Tall, with a goofy smile and an 80s-style mustache, David discovered MJ in 1983, the night Michael moonwalked on Motown 25. From that moment, his life changed. He learned every lyric, practiced every dance move in front of his mirror, and covered his room in MJ posters and vinyl records. His sisters teased, "David, you love Michael more than any girlfriend you've ever had." Working at an electronics store in Long Beach, David was the Michael Jackson guy. Whenever a new MJ record came out, he'd blast it through the store speakers, dancing for customers. David had been saving for nearly a year to buy his VIP ticket. He sold his old Chevy, worked double shifts, and even borrowed money from his mom. But there was a problem. His fiancée, Melissa. She was furious. "David, you spent 3 months' salary on a concert ticket, and you postponed our wedding for this?" It was true. Their wedding was set for November 1993. But when the Rose Bowl date was announced, David pushed it back to December. "Melissa, it's Michael Jackson. He may never tour again. Our honeymoon can wait, but the king of pop won't." Melissa gave him an ultimatum. "It's me or the concert. Choose." David took a deep breath. "Melissa, I love you, but come on. This is Michael Jackson, the man-made Thriller." That night, Melissa ended their engagement. Heartbroken but determined, David decided he wouldn't just watch the show. He would create a moment worth remembering forever. He had a massive banner painted by a friend. "Michael, marry me. David, California." He studied the entire set list, noting when Michael interacted with fans, especially during The Way You Make Me Feel. He practiced his proposal, dropping to one knee, holding out a ring, and miming the ultimate act of devotion. October 30th arrived. David dressed in white sneakers, jeans, and a dangerous tour shirt he had bought at Tower Records. He even wore cologne, just in case Michael notices. By 9 a.m., he was already outside the Rose Bowl, first in line. When the gates opened, he sprinted to the front and secured the perfect spot, front row, dead center. The stage was set for the craziest idea of his life. At 9:30 p.m., the lights went out. The Rose Bowl shook as more than 100,000 voices screamed together. Smoke filled the stage, and then, like a vision, Michael Jackson appeared. David immediately burst into tears. "Oh my God, it's really him!" The show opened with jam. Michael exploded onto the stage with his usual mix of precision and fire. David sang every word, danced every step, and clutched his banner like it was a holy relic. When Smooth Criminal began, David unfolded his giant banner. "Michael, marry me. David, California." And then it happened. Michael spotted it. For a brief moment, he paused mid-performance, glanced at the banner, and smirked. David swore he saw him chuckle. Then came The Way You Make Me Feel. Michael walked down the runway, closer to the crowd, pointing at fans and blowing kisses. Suddenly, he stopped right in front of David. Their eyes met. The world stopped. Michael pointed at him, made a heart with his hands. The crowd screamed. David knew this was his moment. He pulled out a small ring from his pocket, his old high school graduation ring, dropped to one knee, held it up, and shouted with all his soul, "Michael, I love you! Marry me!" The entire Rose Bowl froze for 3 seconds. Silence. Then Michael did something nobody expected. He laughed hard. He grabbed the mic and between laughs said, "Are you proposing to me?" David, not understanding much English but catching the vibe, shouted back, "Yes, yes, Michael, marry me!" The stadium erupted. More than 100,000 people screamed, laughed, and applauded. Cameras zoomed in on David, still kneeling, holding the ring, looking at Michael like he was the love of his life. Michael, clearly amused, decided to play along. He pointed at him again and said, "You're very sweet, but," and gestured with his hands that he was too busy to get married. David clutched his chest and staggered back like a soap opera actor. The crowd lost it. Michael laughed so hard he had to step back and catch his breath. Throughout the rest of the concert, Michael kept the joke alive. During The Way You Make Me Feel, he kept pointing to David, making broken heart gestures. David responded by pretending to faint, blowing kisses, and dramatically holding his chest like a sacred treasure. The cameras caught everything. MTV replayed it later as one of the funniest MJ concert moments ever. The next day, David woke up to chaos. Local newspapers ran headlines like, "Fan proposes to Michael Jackson at Rose Bowl show." Radio DJs joked about it. His phone rang nonstop. MTV even replayed the footage with commentators laughing at his performance. Melissa, his ex-fiancée, called furious. "David, you humiliated me on national TV proposing to another man?" David just laughed. "Melissa, at least now you know I can be romantic. The only problem is, you're not Michael Jackson." A week later, David got a letter from Michael Jackson's team. "Dear David, Michael was touched and entertained by your gesture during the Rose Bowl concert. He said it was one of the most memorable moments of his tour. Thank you for bringing joy not only to him, but to the entire stadium that night. As a token of appreciation, please find enclosed some signed memorabilia. With love, Michael Jackson's production team." Inside were an autographed Dangerous poster, a concert photo signed by Michael, and a replica rhinestone glove. David cried. His crazy dream had paid off. David realized something. His real gift wasn't just being a fan. It was making people laugh. His courage and authenticity had brought joy to thousands. He started doing stand-up comedy at local clubs, joking about the time he almost married Michael Jackson. His story spread. Fans loved it. Eventually, he met Rachel, a dance instructor who had seen his moment on TV. She said, "I want to be with a man who has that kind of courage to be himself." They got married in 1997. At the wedding, instead of a first dance, David moonwalked across the floor to Billie Jean. June 25, 2009, the day everything changed. David was working when the news broke. Michael Jackson had died. He closed his shop and went home. That night, he put on the glove Michael had given him, played Billie Jean, and danced alone in his living room, tears streaming down his face. At Michael's televised memorial, David realized his life had been shaped by that one crazy moment of authenticity. David's story is more than a funny concert tale. It's a reminder that the most magical moments in life come when we're not afraid to be ridiculous, vulnerable, and authentic. In a world obsessed with image, perfection, and playing it safe, David's proposal proved that laughter, courage, and love are more powerful than fear of embarrassment. As David now says in his motivational talks, "It wasn't about proposing to Michael Jackson. It was about proving to myself that I had the courage to be real. That's what changed my life." Today, David is 58 years old. He owns a small music memorabilia shop in Los Angeles with a wall dedicated to that night. The banner, the glove, the newspaper clippings. Fans from around the world visit to hear his story. His kids grew up hearing it 1,000 times. Instead of embarrassment, they're proud. His son became a musician, inspired by his father's courage. His daughter, an actress, says, "My dad taught me that the only way to live is to be unapologetically yourself." David's final message is simple. Better to be remembered as the crazy guy who had the courage than to be forgotten as the quiet one who never tried. 30 years later, David reflects, "I didn't ask Michael to marry me because I loved him. I learned that I was capable of love because I dared to ask. That's the difference. Loving without fear, that's what makes life extraordinary." And that's the